You know what I hear a lot? Yeah, but I hear the same thing about Trump. Like, how many mistakes has he made? Like COVID? COVID. You bring up COVID, good sir. Well, I have brought receipts. I would like to bring you back to the article from the Philly Billy Penn, where it says Philly rebuffs Trump's threat to send in feds. I want to highlight this key provision. That the White House seeks to impose federal involvement in this way after months of abrogating its responsibility to lead a federal response to COVID is both ironic and offensive, Harumph. Kenny said in a statement. Oh, harumph, how dare the president fail to lead this country. Let me show you NPR. Fact check. Trump doesn't have the authority to order states to reopen. Whoa, wait, hold on.
I'm so sick of this.
Hold on.
Drop it, dude.
What?
Go ahead. Drop it in.
Drop it?
No. Don't drop the subject. Like drop the
Drop
bomb.
the hammer.
Drop the hammer you're about to do. That I'm like saying. I'm rooting you on. Go for it.
When Trump said the buck stops with me, I have the authority, every state said nope, you don't, and we can do what we want. And Trump said, no, you need the president's authority. And they said, no. And Trump said, when you're the president, your authority is total. What did he say? He said, the authority is total. And they said, no, it's not. So Trump issued guidelines. Here's what the states should do. And they call that abrogating.
Right.
Donald Trump doesn't have the authority to go to New York and tell Cuomo what to do. He has jurisdiction over federal matters, meaning when someone crosses state lines.
Yeah.
Perhaps I don't even know if he can act border controls between states. I don't know if he has authority to do that. Maybe.
I don't think so.
He can protect federal buildings. He can deal with matters of federal law, but the states control themselves.
Yep, they do.
So this is what you get. April 14th. Trump doesn't have the authority to order states to reopen. Now, I know they're specifically talking about reopening, but let me just say, if Trump doesn't have the authority to tell them to reopen, isn't it fair to say he doesn't have the authority to tell them to do anything?
That's what they're claiming now, though. That
now they're saying he should have led the coalition, but they didn't want to.
The hypocrisy is real in the Democrats.
Yep. So, you know what, man, I've been dealing with this for years, where it started off very much as, look, in the early years of Trump, I think he did some bad things, notably hiring John Bolton. And everybody knew that was a mistake.
That's a good point.
And I have no problem criticizing him. I mean, yeah, the dude said we were going to be celebrating in Tehran. What is that? He's literally saying we're going to invade Iran. It's insane.
It's crazy.
And Trump had to go and hire these people, for whatever reason. I don't know why he did it. I don't know what's going on in the administration. But over the past year or so, it's been getting somewhat better. Notably, I'll mention, calling out China and more specifically Afghanistan. So
Sure.
at this point, I'm just like, okay, man, whatever. I'll take what I can get. But early on, I started off very much as this trope of the liberal who's like, stop making me defend Trump.
I hear that a lot.
But every time the media would lie, I'd be like, no, come on. He's bad, but he's not that bad.
Right.
Now it's just, they've become so insane and desperate. We have moved well beyond stop making me defend Trump. And it's to the point where I'm saying, stop lying, you duplicitous snake. You are lying about everything. It's not even about Trump anymore.
Yep.
It's about the economy. Whenever the economy does well, it's like, well, actually, the economy's bad. Stock market does well. Well, the stock market doesn't matter. Stock market tanks. Look at the stock market. Now my favorite is, where are all the libertarians to defend against, the stormtroopers marching through Portland, man? I thought you wanted gun rights to go up against an oppressive state. It's like, well, okay, hold on. Maybe there's no oppressive state. Maybe there's no oppressive.
They can't believe that, though. That goes against their whole system. And their whole fight would be null and void.
So this is what I'm saying, man. Look, whenever I have the conversation where someone says, I know, earlier Ian was saying, I'm seeing people are saying that, the federal agents are going out there and attacking protesters, and then fights are breaking out, and that other people are saying the protesters are attacking the building. It's like straight up the protesters are attacking the building.
Right.
I just read the Bellingcat segment where it said after 39 days, the first federal response.
Right.
So we're sitting here complaining, why won't Trump do anything for 39 days? Then he finally does, and now they're all crying.
And the only thing he does is protect the federal land that they're totally allowed to.
They did go out of the building and march to the streets, the feds.
Okay.
But I mean, if they're laying siege to this building with commercial grade, fireworks, mortars, those are lethal.
Yeah, they're going out to purge the people that are actually attacking sieging.
Precision of words.
What?
Arrest. You said purge.
Oh, purge the streets. Well, yeah, okay, sure, whatever. Remove them from the area because they were straight up attacking the court building.
Look, I thought about this over the past several years as I've talked more and more about civil war.
Yeah.
I did a segment earlier today on my main channel where I pulled up a bunch of stories where over the past year, longer, they've been saying civil war, nonstop.
Yeah.
It's coming. I mean, look, we're at a point where the states are openly defying the feds and rejecting their authority. But I often wondered to myself, how hard would it be to be like a moderate fence sitter when a civil war breaks out? And you don't know unless it happens, right?
But I got to say, though, you just said, the feds coming in, or they're denying the feds coming in. It's worse than that. They're letting their own cities burn. They are openly letting these people, they're arresting them, letting them out. I don't even know why they're arresting them. Why do they even arrest them?
But now that they're focused on the feds, they don't care.
Yeah.
But look, this is the point I was going to make. I'm thinking to myself, like, if you want to be objective and report on what's happening, how hard would that be in a civil war? That's what I've been thinking about over the past several years. Would it come to a point where violence breaks out and I can be like, this group and this group are doing these things? The answer is it's impossible. There is no word to describe neutrally for both sides what this group of people in Portland are, whatever. There's no one word. And I've thought about it as when I try to record, I usually just press record and start talking. But every so often I'll say something like protesters. Oh, got to stop there. They're not.
Right, they're not.
Insurrectionists?
Well, they're protesters when the cameras are on and the moms are out and they are getting their,
look, they're
singing their Black Lives Matter songs. And that's what people are sending me. Like, well, look, how can you defend the feds? Like, look, they're peaceful. There's 2,000 of these people all singing together. And
show the video of the moms trying to break the door down?
I sent them that way. And they're like, no, I don't need to see any of that.
So the point I'm making is there is no neutrality right now. None whatsoever. Right now you have a group of people, sure, we can call them that, and they're attacking a courthouse. As soon as you say that, people are going to be like, you're lying. They're peaceful. You're lying. They're protesters.
Yep.
What do you call them? Insurrectionists or protesters? Rioters or demonstrators? Whichever one you choose shows which tribe you are because of your worldview, your perspective on who they are and what they're doing.
I have a feeling most people will look at them as rioters.
It depends on what news they get. If you show them the video, I'm sure at this point. That's why I'm saying I don't know if it matters anymore. You send a video of somebody bashing a door, the response is going to be,
oh, well, where was that?
Well, no, of course they're fighting back. The unmarked secret police were snatching people up.
Oh, of course.
That's what they'll say. There's no beginning, middle, or end anymore. It's just a mess.
It's instantly justified in their heads. Like, yeah, sure, that makes sense.
They're
just fighting the system.
It's tribes now, man.
Yeah.
And when it comes to tribalism, there is no reason anymore. It's join or die. That's all it is. So now that the state of look in Oregon, you have Mayor Ted Wheeler, and he's told the feds to get out. They were just chanting the other night, "F Ted Wheeler." There's another mayor who's going to be running in November, and this mayor has openly said that she is Antifa.
Straight up?
Straight up.
Wow.
Trump has said Antifa is a terrorist organization. So what happens when the mayor of this town joins the faction that is attacking the federal building that Trump has declared to be a terrorist organization? Civil war.
Yeah, I guess. That's insane. It's insanity.
It's not the same thing as Fort Sumter, but I have to wonder if the Civil War was like a catalyst for unifying American nationalism, like they said.
Yeah.
It's a line from the movie National Treasure, which is itself a national treasure. Nicolas Cage, the man.
I will agree.
He says, before the Civil War, they said the United States are. After the Civil War, they said the United States is, because the United States was viewed as a single nation.
Right.
I wonder if we're looking at the unzipping now. So we've had our bell curve. We're coming off the end of this ride.
Yeah, someone said to me today they're from another country. They said, hey, just looking from another perspective, I wonder if we're going to start calling it just the States of America.
Yeah.
Instead of the United States of America.
The federal government collapses.
Just
the states
of
shore
America.
up their own borders and everything.
Yeah, maybe.
So, I mean, it'll be insanity for a decade of just chaos, border checkpoints being set up, desperate, Well, so here's what I'm saying. If Oregon has rejected the authority of the federal government, if, Chicago is now saying the same thing, Philadelphia is saying the same thing. It's not necessarily at the state level, but Oregon is at the state level.
Yeah.
Let me show you something else. Let me see if I can, where do I have this? Do I have this pulled up? There we go. I got it pulled up. Greater Idaho. Perhaps a new state.
I could still see every single time I see Idaho, I just see Joe Biden sniffing. See the
Why?
top right?
Oh, yeah.
That's
I
his
see his
nose.
face.
Oh, there you
That's
go.
the
Look at that.
chin.
There's a little Joe Biden.
I can't
sniffing.
unsee that. Once you
That's
see it, it's
amazing.
like, yep, he's
Great-
sniffing Idaho.
Oh,
Greater
gosh.
Idaho would absorb the more conservative areas,
Sniff it.
but this
Interesting.
won't change our
Where
problems.
is that from? What is that from?
This is OPB, I think. Yeah, OPB.org.
No, the map itself. Is that the way it used to be, or is that just
It's from Move Oregon's
suggestion?
Border for a Greater Idaho, an
Oh,
organization.
wow. Okay.
There's also calls for the state of Jefferson, which would be Northern California and like Southern Oregon.
Interesting.
Yeah. So this has been talked about, that the more conservative areas would band together.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that would actually solve any of the problems happening right now. The problems are that, the tracks of this country, this country's tracks have split so far, they're unrecognizable at this point. And
Yeah.
all that matters is you bow to the tribe. Is the orange man good or bad? Pick one. And if you try and be like, oh, come on, chill, you must be on the other side. End of story.
Right.
How can there be an election if if they're like, Trump is cheating
And they truly believe that he is. And then
and Obama's
And then I'm on the other side thinking that they're cheating. So it's like I could see both sides. Everyone thinks that they're just pointing fingers at each other like, you're a cheater. No, you're the cheater. Everybody's cheating. So how do we move forward then as a united
I don't
states?
think it matters. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I don't think it matters who wins or loses. If Trump loses, in my opinion, based on everything I've read and the news I've tracked, and I've been around the world, and of course I think I'm right. Joe Biden is going to pull off a TPP.
Yep.
He's going to try and rejoin up with China.
Yep.
They're going to sell off our industry. They're going to strip the rights of American citizens to international corporations. We already heard from Jack Dorsey when I was on the Rogan podcast when he said our rules are for a global community.
Wow.
Remember he was talking about we serve a global community, so our rules are more. The UN has basically denounced hate speech. They've basically been like, oh, you shouldn't allow hate speech. What we believe in, liberalism, and I mean that in the true academic sense of the word, not the colloquial, stupid, leftist.
Right.
Like the idea of the consent of the governed, freedom of speech, expression, the right to life, liberty, and pursuit of happiness are going to be gone.
I agree. That's why I'm so afraid of people voting for Biden, because they are blinded to the bigger picture.
Now think about the other side. Their one chance to defeat white supremacy. They view America as a colonial empire of genocide that must be purged. They believe that science, that time, that schedules are all white supremacy that must be abolished and purged.
I mean, getting into that conversation, it just proves to me how misguided and
I think all that matters is one thing.
They're just misguided for sure.
Misguided. I see the left as a chaotic, destructive force.
Yeah.
And they've,
Putting it lightly.
The modern Democrats have essentially given up and given in for power. And the leftists are taking the reins and trying to pull as hard as they can. They haven't made as many gains as they want. What's happening in Oregon is a huge advantage for them. But they can't win anything because they offer up no cohesive structure for anything. I'll tell you what does happen, though. When this fight breaks out between those who believe in this country and those who don't, China.
What? They're gonna finally pull the trigger?
China won't need there won't need to be a war if America collapses from within.
That's a good point.
So maybe this is how we avoid Thucydides' trap. America is done. And that's why people like Mark Cuban won't speak up about Hong Kong, because that's their exit strategy. America can collapse, the dollar can tank, silver and gold are spiking, stocks are spiking, and he can dump his money into China, and then when the collapse happens, he'll still be rich. Not him. I'm calling him out partly because of the Ted Cruz thing. I don't know what his, if he said anything about China. I want to be careful about dragging individuals unless I know for sure. But how many billionaires are like, my financial interests are in a bunch of different countries, I'll be rich forever.
Yep.
And how many Americans are going to be just left to live in the wastes?
We gotta be aware. We have to talk. We have to be talking. We have to be open. We have to be, explaining, it makes me think of Darrell Davis on a grander scale. Like he went and to his own like threat of his own life. Like he could have been killed doing what he was doing, but he went out there to talk to these people and show them that, you know, there's not.
Well, it's not even that complicated.
It's not even that complicated.
He was like, I'm going to go talk to him.
I'm going to go talk to him.
This is the guy who de-radicalized 200 Klansmen,
Yep.
a famous blues musician, a black man who went to a bunch of Klan meetings.
Yep. Amazing guy.
And then what happened when he went to my event in Philly?
They called him a white supremacist
and refused to talk to him.
Right, exactly.
And they had this viral post on Facebook where he was shocked.
Yep.
How was it that he was able to walk up to Klan members?
Yep.
And they were like, "What do you have to say?"
That scares me.
But then when he went to the Antifa, they were like, "Get out of here, you white supremacist, F you."
Right.
And he was like, "I can't believe it."
Or how about the police officer in Seattle, I believe it was, where he's talking and he was standing there, and I guess a younger black person walked up to him and was like, you know, "Hey, can I talk to you? You know, we're saying like to defund you. Can you talk to me?" And he's like, I really want to. I want to talk to you. But every single time I try to, some white Antifa person comes up. And at that moment, right then,
Yep.
a white Antifa person is like, "Don't talk to the police. How dare you talk
Yep.
to the police?" It's like, they can't even have their own voice anymore.
It's a cult.
It is a cult. They're trying to indoctrinate all these people and convince them that, you know, racism is real.
No, it's not even about any of that. It's kind of like applying you have a structure and it's made of wood and you want it to come down. And so what they're doing is they're taking a corrosive and they're rubbing it on support structures. And then you sit back and wait, and eventually the supports become too weak and the whole thing comes down.
Yeah.
I was in San Bernardino. There was a protest. It was far left versus Trump supporters. And I was just filming. I walked over to the far left side, and there were a bunch of people in black bloc, just wearing all black, standing there. Mm-hmm. And I said, any guys, you want to tell me what's going on? And then all of a sudden, an organizer ran up and started chanting, just chanting. I don't remember exactly what they were chanting, but they were just mindlessly chanting, "Mic, check, mic, check, mic." That's what they do.
Yep.
If you, as a journalist, try and walk up to a group that doesn't have the ability to violently crush you like they do, if you're filming, they'll be like, "Get him, get him," and they'll beat you up for having a camera.
Yeah.
They just chant so that no one can talk to you, like you were mentioning with the cop.
Yep. Exactly.
It's not about any real idea. It's not about making anything. It's about literally just applying a corrosive that destroys the support structures, the bonds of a functioning society.
Yeah.
And you know what the problem is? There's no one trying to repair it. I mean, it's an exaggeration. There are a few. There are people like Jordan Peterson. There are people like Brett Weinstein, people like us.
I mean, I'm seeing these new politicians that are coming. Sean Parnell, for example.
Sean Parnell, Matt Gaetz, I think.
Yeah, they're out there. Someone in Jersey who's running also. That's really awesome. Got a good platform, but I see this new wave of politicians that are coming out, and that's what we need. We need this.
I think
you keep saying it's. You think it's too late. I hear you, Tim.
10% of the CDC is intersectionalist, and they demanded that the federal government declare that racism is a national health crisis.
Right, and then
so the problem is
articles are coming out right now that saying they're flubbing all the numbers, and so it's like they can't juggle so many lies. Excuse me. They can't juggle all these lies before they start dropping them all and being like, "Oops, you got me lying."
I disagree.
Okay.
When you
That's fine.
when it turns out that you have about 10,000 employees of the CDC and 1,200 have signed a document demanding a national health crisis on racism, which makes literally no sense.
Correct.
Has nothing to do with the CDC. You've already got an ideological infection throughout your nation worse than you realize. It's like seeing one roach on the wall and going, "It's just one roach, it's fine," and ignoring it. And then a year later, you're done. And you could have done something about it, but the problem was this was decades ago. Like you mentioned, that document on whiteness from the Smith, that was from 1990.
Yep.
Those ideas.
Right, exactly.
I'm like, wow, I didn't know any. I was a kid, I was a little kid.
Yep.
So now we've all grown up, and surrounding us, as we are all the support structure of American ideals, the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, all the amendments, we are surrounded by people who have no logical structures in their brains to actually draw conclusions. They think time is racist. It's meaningless. They think racism is a health crisis that must be declared. They think climate change is racist. And they have these nonsensical, insane ideas like 2 + 2 = 5. And I'm not exaggerating. There's a big Twitter thread from these people explaining how math doesn't make sense because it's actually white supremacy. The argument is that, here's what they say, Clearly, 2 plus 2 doesn't always equal 4. That's wrong, because 2 apples plus 4 oranges does not be, plus 2 oranges does not equal 4 apples. What they do is they manipulate, misrepresent, and confuse to fracture the bonds of a functioning logical structure. And all that will lead to is breaking down. So when 10%, apparently now I'm seeing some talk about filing FOIA requests against the federal government to figure out who's doing this weird intersectionalism. Mm-hmm. I was reading something that said that once you reach 10% saturation of an ideology, that's enough for them to take over the whole system. Especially when you realize that religious people in this country aren't actually devout religious. I'd be willing to bet that if you took the average Christian and placed them next to the average intersectionalist, the average Christian would be a regular kind of chill American who probably isn't going to preach to you. Probably. But the intersectionalist will literally punch you in the face if you don't get on your knees for, racial justice. They'll bash you in the face and they'll call you a Nazi.
Yep.
So you compare who is truly ideological. Intersectionalists throughout this country overwhelmingly are preaching the gospel of their new, I'll call it a cult.
Yeah.
And they're infecting every layer. How many corporations have come out against this?
I think it's a religion now. How many cult members do you need to then
I don't
you
know.
can register?
There's really a way.
I'm pretty sure there's an actual number though, and I'm pretty sure they have their new religion, and that's what this is.
I think the reason it's graduated now to a religion is because they don't have a personality. It's literally just it's an ideology that they worship.
Yeah.
That is, it's got all. Yeah. It's I don't want to say it's a religion, because religions actually are something are relatively different historically.
Yeah.
But they're definitely in the same structure of what a religion is.
You know what their idol is?
Non-theistic religion.
You know what their idol is?
Golden calf.
You were close.
What?
A golden participation trophy.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can see it.
I think it should be a golden calf. I think we should make the golden calf of intersectionalism. That would be the perfect symbol for them. Figure out a way to get them to adopt it.
No, I like cows. They're cool.
Yeah, but do you know what the reference is?
Yeah, of course. But
yeah.
Still, I don't want
to worship a golden. Was it a calf?
It was a golden calf.
Yeah.
Yep. It was ground into powder, and they were made to drink it.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah. Oh no, they did not get to keep that idol because they're Israelites.
Thanks for checking out this clip from the Timcast IRL podcast. We do the show live Monday through Friday at 8 p.m. If you want to catch the full show, tune in to this channel, subscribe, hit the like button, or check us out on iTunes and Spotify, and we will soon have this podcast up for free on all podcast platforms. Thanks for hanging out, and we'll see you all in the next episode.